Hello, and welcome to another episode of Yeah Sure with me, your host, Kiki. I know it's been a couple of weeks, okay? I know. You don't need to get down my throat about it, okay? Life has just been crazy. Life has been nuts. I picked up a new job, and unfortunately, it isn't this. So, whatever. So, until then, you're just gonna have to get the episodes whenever you get them, okay? No, but honestly, life should be slowing down. The March Madness is coming to an end, and hopefully, I'll be able to do this on a weekly basis. I really thought I could do it on a weekly basis, but it's just hard. It's hard. So, today was a gorgeous day. So, it seems like I like to make these on really beautiful days and when I'm done with them because I'm just in a better mood. I went over to the pier and I journaled and I watched the sun go down and I watched the full moon go up and I felt like a cute little witch. I have a few stories picked out for you guys today. I hope you like them. I haven't read them yet. Obviously, this is how that works. If this is your first time here, I only pick the stories based off of the titles, and usually they're good. Usually they're pretty juicy. So, without further ado, let's get into it. All right. So our first story comes from Two Hot Takes. I love Two Hot Takes. Morgan is literally just like the goat when it comes to this stuff. I also literally have never said the goat in my life, and I'm embarrassed. But anyway, this title is Was I Being Petty to Write Up the Mean Girls in My Department for Food Shaming? I don't know. I guess we're going to have to find out, right? Okay, I realize the title may sound insanely petty, but it's not just about me. I, 43 female, am the head of my department at a large financial institution. There are two women, mid 20s, who are constantly picking apart whatever people are choosing to eat throughout the day. Oh no, baby. You're in your 40s? These are mid 20s girls. They're just fucking around. Okay, maybe you were justified in doing it. I'm gonna say yes, you were being petty, just based off of like the ages alone, because you're in your fucking 40s. These women are not the skinny girls food shaming chubby people, but chubby people shaming the healthier choices people make. Honestly, it doesn't matter how it comes out. Skinny people, chubby people, it's simply harassment in my eyes. To me, it's made even more wild because they're shaming people for eating salads, protein bowls and shakes, sugar-free drinks, etc. Quote, "Are you a rabbit? All those vegetables? Ew." Quote, "You know you can eat a cheeseburger, you won't inflate overnight. Men like curves, you need to eat real food, etc." At first, it came across as cute/funny, but as time has gone on, it's become unbearable. Mind you, I've spoken to these women a few times, but now in the last few months, they've progressively gotten more aggressive in their comments. Today was the last straw for me, though. A new woman who's been here for about 3 weeks had her husband stop by with lunch for the two of them. She's an average sized Punjabi woman, and her husband is a chubby Punjabi guy. They had apparently made the choice to eat healthier together and walk after lunches. She had asked if it was okay to have him come at lunchtimes. I granted her permission last week. Of course, these women loudly went on and on about how much happier the man would be with one of them because they knew how to feed his figure better than the wife. They would not try to limit his food and control his life. Comments about how miserable he must be eating only the cultural food his wife forces him to eat, and now the poor man has to suffer with only rabbit food to sustain him. Sultina, shut the fuck up. Sorry, my cats are trying to like bust into this room and they would just fuck the whole thing up. Honestly, if they were chill, I'd probably let them in here. But I have to go spray them down with the water. I'm so sorry. I know that sounds cruel, but it's the only way. Okay, where were we? I'm going to start here. And now the poor man has to suffer with only rabbit food to sustain him and criticize walks to lose weight instead of having sex to burn calories. Needless to say, I called them into my office, verbally reprimanded them, and then wrote them up and sent it off to HR. HR called me and asked if I was sure I wanted to go down this road. I said, absolutely. Is there something I'm missing? She said that it might come across as petty and catastrophizing because someone like me is accusing someone like them of food shaming, bullying, and unprofessionalism. What? So, because they're heavy and I am thin, I should give them a pass. To be fair, when I wrote the complaint, I did report the history of food shaming and the previous warnings I had issued. But this particular situation has gone far beyond food shaming and turned into something far worse. I could even say as far as sexual harassment almost. Am I being tone deaf? Did I miss something? Am I out of line or being over the top? I really don't think so. Ooh, this is like a little bit complicated. Because they are bigger bodied women making comments. But honestly, you shouldn't be making comments about anybody's food. If you decide that you want to eat healthy, then that's your fucking MO. And honestly, I'm gonna be real with you right now. They just seem fucking miserable that they're not making those choices because you don't make fun of other people unless you feel some sort of way about it, you know? I mean, at least for me, like it's like those girls, like the pick me girls who are just like, oh my God, I can't believe you would wear makeup. I can't believe you would do this for a boy's attention. And meanwhile, deep down, they're like looking for that male validation. And honestly, that comment about why don't they just have sex to like burn calories? That's fucked up. That's fucked up. You shouldn't be saying any of this at work. Also, like if I wanted to like spill tea and kiki with my best friend from work, like we do that via text, we do that via other means, not in the office where your boss can hear you. I'm assuming like you're their boss, whatever. I don't think you're being petty, but I think it needs to be addressed. I don't think they need to like be fired for it because it has nothing to do with their actual work. However, they do need like a talking to because like that shit's not okay. And like in the workplace and also like outside of the workplace. Like they have no fucking right. And like also to shit on like this woman's cultural cooking, like fuck you. Fuck you. What do you eat fucking like what do you eat? Mac and cheese? Susan? Like relax. Everybody relax here. I need to take a sip of coffee. I got all worked up. I have coffee today because why not? Yeah. I don't fuck with her. I don't fuck with them. Well, let's see what like the top comment says. Maybe I'm wrong. All right. The top comment is they brought race/ethnicity into it by making comments about her cultural food. I would not back down. The wronged employee might take this as a race thing and she wouldn't be incorrect. You see? I know I say it every week, but the top comment and my opinion are always like this. Another comment says, you aren't tone deaf or out of line. It's time for a meeting or an email outlining the unacceptable behavior so there's no doubt everyone understands that discussions of a personal nature are inappropriate in the office. Clear it with HR first. Yep. I think that's it. I think that is all that needs to be said. Period, dot, exclamation, done. That's that. All right. I've got my second story for you guys. This one comes from Best of Redditor Updates. And it's not super long, thankfully. Sometimes I'll like scroll the updated ones because sometimes I'll be sitting here for like 2 hours talking. There was one story, I think it was in the first episode, that I had to cut because it was literally like 20 minutes long. Like the first episode would have been like 45 minutes long and it was just like too much. So sometimes I do scroll through, but I don't read them. Okay? I promise you we are getting the same reaction at the same time because I'm no fucking phony. okay? I'm not a phony. I stay true to my word, okay? I own up to my shit. Because if we're not being honest, then what's even the fucking point of being here, right? All right, so this one comes from Best of Redditor Updates, and the title is, Am I the asshole for wearing shapewear on a date? I don't think so, but let's see. The original post is from March 18th, 2026. Hi, I, 29 female, have lost about 75 pounds over the past 10 months. Congrats, that's beautiful. I still have about 20-ish pounds until I meet my goal, but I feel so much more confident and better in my body. Still, I have some excess skin around my stomach, the inside of my thighs. My trainer says that with continued strength training, these should reduce significantly, but I'm considering my options for surgery. In the meantime, though, I don't want to keep waiting to feel perfect when I want to date now. So I wear shapewear underneath my clothes to smooth things out and hold the excess skin in. I've been seeing a guy, Jake, 28 male, for the past few months. He's funny, cute, and great conversation. I think we have great chemistry and strong mutual attraction. I'm not the kind of person who has sex casually or without knowing a person well, and Jake has been understanding of this. We've kissed and I've given him oral, but I just wasn't ready for sex. This past weekend, I felt like I was really ready to try, and after our date, we went back to his place. He undressed, and he's been pretty athletic his whole life, so his body is perfect. Good for you, girl. Get it. I took the plunge and started removing my clothes. He was surprised that I was wearing shapewear and asked if it was a corset. I couldn't tell if he was joking, but I kept undressing, so I was exposed, loose skin and all. His face fell. He looked disgusted and disappointed. I think he realized how his reaction looked because he immediately started apologizing and explaining that he was just surprised that I was wearing anything like that, but it really struck my self confidence. I felt so disgusting and self conscious. It was like I was flung back into my heavier days where guys would ghost me once they saw a photo of me. I was completely turned off and put my clothes back on quickly. He was still apologizing, but I could tell he was also annoyed that I didn't want to have sex anymore. I talked to my friends, and while some of them think he was rude but well meaning, a couple of my friends think that I should have been honest from the jump so I could find a guy who would genuinely like me without any surprises. I don't feel like I was deceiving him or anything, but I do know he's used to dating more athletic, active women like himself. And even though I've lost weight, I'll never be that type of person. We're still texting, and he's apologized again, but now I'm afraid to face him. Am I the asshole? Wow. Um, that is so real. I I've never been like a bigger bodied person, and I've never lost that amount of weight. And I can imagine that shapewear probably makes you feel better, obviously. Um, I mean, if you guys have been talking, like, I don't know if you've shared that you've lost 75 pounds with him or not, but I mean, that seems to be like a pretty big part of your life to not share. And maybe you have. I don't know. That's possible. But I don't know. I don't think you're the asshole. Like, I think you're well within your right to wear shapewear. But I do think that maybe you're not being honest about your experience in life with him. And there are certain things that you don't have to disclose, right? But you did give this man oral. So, if his peach was in your mouth, I think maybe he should know a little bit more about you. Um, and a little more about you, I mean, like, that you lost 75 pounds. And clearly, this man has been athletic his whole life. I think he understands the concept of loose skin and all of that. Um, I think it's worth the conversation. I think because he's obviously apologetic. I think he just wasn't expecting. I think he just like wasn't expecting it. Which, whatever. I don't think anybody's really the asshole here. Let's see. All right. So one of the top comments says, the action itself is not the asshole. However, have you told him about your body situation before? He might have just been genuinely shocked because he had no idea you were on a weight loss process. Imagine if your positions are swapped and he wasn't that athletic, he was just wearing a bodysuit to fake abs. The lack of transparency after a few months of dating makes you slightly the asshole, but it seems like this is an issue that could be resolved over time and through talking. I agree. Um, and then OP commented on that one saying, "A lot of people are asking me how much I've discussed my weight loss, and now I'm realizing that I've been ignoring it. I just haven't mentioned it to him. We talk about going to the gym, his recreational sports leagues, etc., and I haven't volunteered that information and he didn't ask. One time I mentioned never being an athletic kid like he was, and he said something like, 'Well, you've certainly caught up now, but I think you're right. I'll try to talk to him later tonight.'" Yeah, yeah. So I guess we were right that she just never mentioned it. And I mean, like of course you don't want to have to mention those things, but if you've been dating a few months like and you have great conversations and he seems like a nice guy, obviously he's going to understand and he's obviously apologetic. So, whatever. All right. So, we have an update. Yeah. The update is from March 19th. The next day, 2026. This was only like 12 days ago. This is crazy. Okay. So, update. Am I the asshole for wearing shapewear on a date? Okay, thanks to everyone who left nuanced and thoughtful comments. Fuck that person who compared hiding my loose skin to a guy pretending to be rich while living in a shitty apartment or whatever. Wowza. Okay. People were wondering how/why I've been dating someone for 2 months without revealing I was wearing shapewear. My area has been pretty cold for the past few months since it's winter, so it hasn't been hard to hide myself. The first time we met, I wasn't even wearing shapewear, just a big coat at a Christmas market. We had gone on 6 dates total before that fateful evening, and on every one of those, I'd kept my clothes on, even the 2 times we went to his place after the date. Also, something that gave me a chuckle was people helpfully reminding me that oral sex is, in fact, sex. You're right, I phrased it like that just to make it clear that I wasn't taking my clothes off while we were having the intimacy we were. So, a lot of people asked what I was expecting from this ruse, or how long I expected it to go on, or why I didn't just breach the subject beforehand. After thinking about it, I know I was subconsciously avoiding it. In my mind, I was doing both of us a quote unquote favor by revealing it cold turkey rather than just talking about it. Many people pointed out that it sounded like I was self sabotaging, and I have to agree. I wanted to be the new me in a way that meant I could pretend I was never different, and the skin is a physical reminder that that isn't true. How could someone still so imperfectly deserve him? I was so focused on ignoring my insecurity that became a motivating force behind my actions. For that reason, I accept that I was the asshole, not for wearing shapewear at all, but for not trusting Jake or myself to be able to handle the insecurity behind it or the body in it. I called him on FaceTime last night and apologized profusely for putting him in this weird asinine position. I told him that every other part of me has been honest, but that I couldn't face him or myself about my body because it still causes me so much shame. I don't want to lose out on a good thing because of my insecurity, but I felt it was right to offer him space or the opportunity just to end things. Luckily for me, he didn't want that. As many people also predicted, his reaction of surprise was just surprise. He told me he didn't find my body disgusting or horrifying with or without shapewear, and he wished that I was upfront about what I've been going through because he felt bad that I was just so clearly upset by his reaction. He also said that he was impressed that I've changed my life this way, and he offered to do some mixed recreational league stuff when the weather gets warmer because I still have a lot of anxiety around team sports. I regret putting either of us in this position, and I truly appreciate everyone's perspectives. I still have a lot to do acclimating to my new reality, and I think some part of me just hates myself for ever being fat, and still hates myself for carrying the reminders. We have another date this weekend, no shapewear allowed. Wow, that was beautiful. Aw, see? He likes you. He likes you for you, shapewear or not. So good for you, babes. Good for you. Um, One of the commenters said, he sounds like a thoughtful and sensitive person. Nobody was the asshole in that situation. Yeah. Wow. What a beautiful. You know, you really don't really come across a lot of Reddit stories where like, nobody's the asshole or like it's like super wholesome like that. Well, babes, I hope that this will become a long-lasting relationship. He seems like a really nice guy, and I'm happy for you. Happy that you lost the weight, happy that you're becoming more comfortable in your own skin. I'm happy that he's just a nice guy, and I'm happy to move on to this next story. So, I saved the best for last. I mean, I think it's the best because it seems good. The tea is hot. I'm going to take a sip of coffee, even though it's not tea. And it's not very hot. It's lukewarm at best. Not even lukewarm. But we must go on. So this is also another Best of Redditor update. We love an update. And the title is, Last night I found out that my wife has been cheating on me with my best friend. Story inside, plus an 8.5-year update. What? I saw that in the title and I was like, I have to read this one. I also don't think it's super long, which is good. We love that because I don't want to keep you guys here all day, even though I know you want to hang out with me all day. Duh. Why else would I be here? Okay, so the original post is from September 26, 2016. 2016, remember those times? This was right before the orange guy took office. Wow, yeah. Yeah, like about a month and a half before the orange dude. Life was good, you know? Life was life. I had just gotten out of college. I was starting my first big girl job. I was like months away from moving out. Wow, crazy. Anyway, the original post is from September 26, 2016. My wife and I have been together for the past 6 years, and everything up till last night has been great. We've had a little problem with white lies over the years, but nothing that was threatening to our relationship. About 4 months ago, we decided that we wanted to start swinging and meeting other couples. Hot. So that's what we did. We had a couple of threesomes as well, and everything was going fine for me, but for her, she wanted emotion and connection with others. It took a bit, but I understood, and I told her that as long as we create a connection with people new to us and build upon that, I would be fine with that. I don't mind her having a boyfriend, and she doesn't mind if I have a girlfriend, but I just wanted approval on her partners, and I wanted her to approve mine. That way, we can grow to not only care about our new partners, but everyone involved with our family. I should also mention that we have a small child together. Damn. You and your wife, that is communication and trust. So, I mean, good on you. Obviously, things go awry, but we'll get there when we get there. Anyway, almost a year ago, one of my longtime friends moved back into town, and we picked up being bros right from the get-go. I came out to him about my wife and I being poly, and he was very supportive. I would tell him stories about our adventures, and it was just nice to have a no-judgment conversation with a close friend about my exciting new adventure with my soulmate. But I noticed that my wife would hang out with him alone quite a bit and lie about it. Why would she lie, I thought, but I trusted both of them and brushed it off. Where there's smoke, there's fire. This is after she discussed with me about having him as her boyfriend, and I told her I wasn't comfortable with it because I was afraid that it might ruin a close friendship that I wanted to keep. Last night, I was hanging out with him, and he made a few comments that made me think that something was going on, so I confronted my wife about it before bed. She, of course, denied it, but I eventually got her to come clean. She told me that for the past few months, they had been seeing each other whenever I was away. They've slept together twice and fooled around quite a few times. I feel like I've been punched in the gut, and neither of them seem to understand why I'm so mad and why I don't want to continue a friendship with them anymore. I wanted to be in a poly relationship, but it seems like trying to have one is destroying my life. What should I do here? I don't want my marriage to end. Ooh! Oh, sweet angel. That is unethical. That is unethical polyamory. That is cheating. I know poly is like a whole, like, you could do what you want with whoever, But you still need to talk to your partner's back. You can't be going behind your partner's back. That is still cheating. 1000%. You were cheated on, sir, and I'm sorry. And it's always with the best friend, man. It's always with the friend. Why do you do this? Whatever. I mean, I guess like birds of a feather fuck together. I'm gonna start using that, man. That's pretty good. I make myself laugh every day. All right, so one of the relevant comments is that's not poly, that's cheating, right? That's not poly, that's cheating, lying, and being a general shithead. If she doesn't understand that, I'm not sure there's a way to fix this. And then OP says, she says she does and that she's choosing me, but I feel like the damage is already done and trust has already been broken. I love her. I love both her and our daughter, but I'm so sad right now and I don't know how I can be happy again. Another commenter said, devil's advocate a bit here. Please don't murder me. This is one of the dangers of the veto. You can't date X ever. Your partners might be hurt by it, and X is going to be hurt by it too. In some cases, your partner and Meta might be so offended by it that they decide that you're the weak link. Why is this destroying your life? Could you accept that there hadn't been secrecy and lying? Could you continue to be his friend and in your marriage if everyone were open and clean about what was going on? The big problem here isn't being poly, and to be honest, it's not your use of the veto, even though I called the out. It's that there was dishonesty. The big problem here isn't being poly, and to be honest, it's not your use of the veto, even though I call that out. What? You're talking real weird here, buddy. We have an update. Yeah. This one is from August 19th, 2017. So this is 10 and a half months after the original post. I'm going to take a sip of coffee. I know. I have a lot of coffee sip breaks. I hope you guys don't hear me drinking. It's also like 9 o'clock at night. But that's fine. I'm Greek. I can drink coffee right before bed and go straight to sleep. That's how that works, right? Okay. So yeah. So this update is from August 19th, 2017, 10 and a half months after the original post. So I took the advice of you guys and decided to seek counseling with my wife to try and salvage our relationship. The thread itself was such a therapeutic experience for me right when I needed it, and I can't thank you guys enough for being there. So anyway, after the thread, we sat down with my former best friend and all three talked it out. My friend claimed he loved my wife, and my wife showing remorse after sitting with it for a few days. I had found that my best friend had, over the course of 3 months, got my wife addicted to Adderall and cocaine, which as a former addict made her a bit afraid of the relapse. Whoa! She's an addict and he put her back on? That's crazy. That's nuts. Okay. I need to know more. I need to know more. Okay. She checked herself into a treatment center and we attended couples counseling every other day for the first month. We were lucky to find a non-monogamy one too, which was a huge plus. In counseling, we laid it out on the table. She felt like she had dug herself into a hole that she couldn't get herself out of, so she numbed the pain with drugs. She revealed her text exchanges with my ex-best friend, showing that he had gotten my permission for the relationship and that I had said on multiple occasions that I felt like a cuckold. Pure lies. I had never mentioned anything of that nature. I liked swinging and I was fine sticking with that. My wife had also told our therapist that she would like for me to have a short-term relationship with a woman to even the scales, but I told her that I wasn't interested in that. After convincing her that it wasn't going to happen, she wanted me to sleep with another woman without asking for her permission. I told her I would be fine with that, but I don't want to be deceitful in finding someone else just for a fling. So I told her that eventually I might be alright with it. Right now, it's all about her and I. Wow, you're a good dude. After around 5 months, we decided to leave counseling, and our relationship has been in a really good place since then. She'll sometimes randomly tell me she's sorry and says it's hard for her to return to her headspace at that time. But through all this, she still wants me to sleep with someone else without her being there. We've started swinging again because I had hoped that it would help, but she doesn't seem interested in it as much as I am. So even though everything is better and I'm starting to gain trust again, what should I do? I really don't want to pretend to be single just so I can make her feel better about this. I've forgiven her at this point, but she says she can't forgive herself until I sleep with someone else. I'm happy with our relationship again, and I do think that she will eventually have all of my trust again. But in this situation, how do I make her feel better? Sorry for the long winded here, and also for not being the best writer. Um, Wowza. You don't have to sleep with someone to make your wife feel better. You just don't. And I know that would make her feel better because it would absolve her of her guilt. And so then she could like be like, "Oh, wow, my husband slept with someone else." And then she could feel the jealousy and the pain that you felt. But it's never going to be anywhere near that unless you like sleep with her sister or her best friend. Like, and then at that point, like you're just doing tit for tat. It's not worth it. I want to get to the meat of it. I want to get to the 8.5 years later. So, March 21st, 2026. This was 10 days ago. Who says I'm not the best? I am so updated. I find everything for you guys. So, March 21st, 2026, 8.5 years later. I'm sure no one remembers me, but I was cheated on 9 years ago when my wife and I decided to try out polyamory. You can read what happened, but basically, my friend eased his way into my relationship and had a short lived secret relationship with my wife. When I posted on here, I was living in the worst period of my life. I had basically everyone telling me that my relationship was over or would be hard to recover from. We went to therapy and gave it a shot, both of us wanting to fix our marriage. Fast forward to today, and I can say that we're doing great. It took a couple of years to come to terms with everything, but if you work through your problems enough, sometimes you can save what still seems unsavable. We paused from poly from 2016 until 2018, had some relationships and fun from 2018 until 2022, and closed ourselves off in December of that year. What I failed to mention in 2016 was that I had checked out kind of and let my marriage survive on cruise control. Before her affair, I would stay up late playing video games, hang with work colleagues at the bar, or do basically anything other than nourish my marriage. During that period, an old friend comes back into our lives, and he is everything that is missing with me. He loved going treasure hunting on the weekends with her, taking pictures, being social, etc. Things that I wasn't providing for her. So, yeah, she cheated, and yeah, that sucked and was wrong, but what about my role? Was I automatically the good guy just because I remained faithful? I really don't think so. Anyway, I just wanted to add this into the world and update this subreddit, even though I am long forgotten. My old post remains so you can see where my head was at the time. Also, I'm sorry if I see like I'm rambling and hard to follow. I had an accident that caused brain damage, and even writing this out can be quite a chore for me. Anyway, long story short, we're still in love, happily married, and we're both finally treating each other how we should have the whole time. I don't think we'll ever go back to polyamory, but that still doesn't mean it can't work for some. Wow. Another happy ending. I love it. I love it. I'm so happy for you, dude. I'm really sorry about your brain injury, but I'm glad that you're okay enough to like write and update people. Well, I'm glad we got to spend some time together this week. Sorry life has been so crazy. I'm going to try to do it weekly, but we'll see if that works. Anyway, have a fantastic week, a fantastic weekend, a fantastic life, and stay healthy. I'll see you next time. Oh, and don't forget to follow Yeah Sure Reddit Reads on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. Okay, bye.